This is Groundeffected. My name is Brent, and welcome to arriving at the shops without the list your wife gave you of stuff to buy. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how I changed my FEP sheet. But before we carry on, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you don't want to miss out on more videos like this in the future. Yes, I have asked you to do that before I've even earned it from you, but it's as easy as taking it away by the end of the video if you feel like I have not done enough to have earned your subscription. Also, there is a link in the description if you want to support the channel more. But enough of all this nonsense, let's just get straight into how the hell do you change an FEP sheet. So it may seem super obvious that the first thing you need to do is take your vat out of the machine. Once you've got it out, the best thing you can do is find something like an old piece of cardboard or a big piece of tissue to put down on your table. This is gonna make a mess. In my case, I've done it enough times that I'm able to keep my hands away from the resin, so if possible, wear gloves while doing this. Unscrew every single one of the screws and take all the screws out and keep them somewhere safe. That little plate comes off and the sheet needs to come out. Dispose of this immediately so you don't get it on your hands. The FEP sheet that I've chosen to use is this one from Elegoo, and the reason I've chosen this is because ones that I've used before have been either too thin, bent a little bit too easily, things like that, and this is one that I've found to work really well for me. An important thing when you do get FEP sheets is to make sure that there isn't a film on the sheet. Sometimes there is a film on both sides, and sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to get off than just pulling it off with a little tab. Then you place it over the vat, making sure that it is enough space all around all four edges, and put the ring back on. I press down lightly and poke a little hole in order to start screwing in all four corners. Once all four corners are in, you're almost safe to go from there. Then I'll go through and poke a hole in the center pieces as well and tighten those down. Not all the way, you only want to screw them in just a little bit. And this is holding everything together. You can go through and poke holes in every single one of the holes that you need to put a screw in. Once you've got holes in them, you can then go through and start putting screws in. I don't tighten them all the way. What I do is I put them in one by one, and I only tighten them sort of just 3/4 of the way down. The way that I put them in is also important, I think. I put them opposite each other. So if I do the top right, I do the bottom left. If I do the top left, I do the bottom right. And I do this in a diagonal fashion the whole way through. Once they're all in, I slowly start to tighten them. I do this in 2 increments. And I go again diagonally from top corner to bottom corner, left to right, making sure that if I tighten one, I tighten its opposite brother screw. This is very important to make sure you get the tension right, otherwise you may tighten it down too much on one side and the tension won't be good. I do this in 2 increments, like I said. I tighten it to kind of tight and then I tighten it all the way at the end. Once that's all tightened down, you need to cut off the excess FEP sheet that is around the edge of the vat. I use a sharp knife for this. Be super careful. I can't tell you the amount of times I've damaged an FEP sheet by slipping and smacking the center of the sheet with the knife. If there is a hole, you have to redo the FEP sheet again. And once you've cut the excess off, all you got to do is place it on the machine and you're ready to print again. Now I know that that wasn't the most longest of videos or the most detailed of videos. However, there are people out there who don't have an idea on how to change the FEP sheet. And while for most of us who have been printing for a good long time, this is something that seems super simple to most of us. But to those who are new to printing, this is something that may be a little bit more daunting and might be a little bit stressful on your first time changing it. However, don't be afraid of changing your FEP sheet because it's not that difficult. Also, one thing to remember is that the sheet of FEP only costs around maybe £1 to £2 max. But if you fill your build plate up and you print and it fails halfway through, you could easily have lost £15–20 worth of resin just in failures. So in my opinion, if you think that your FEP sheet needs to be changed, the best thing you can do is to just change your FEP sheet. You buy it in sheets that come up to about 5 sheets in a pack, sometimes more. You can even buy it in rolls if you really want to. The way I feel about FEP sheets is if anything happens to my print that doesn't seem normal, I change it as one of the first parameters I'm going to look into for troubleshooting any problems with the next print. And of course, we are at the end of a video, and I do need to say a super special thank you to my patrons for all the support that they offer the channel and to me personally. And if you want to support the channel even more, the best thing you can do is to just watch another video. Or if you feel like supporting even further than that, you can join the Patreon. There is a link for that in the description below. If you join the Patreon, you'll have access to our private Discord, where there is a lot of 3D printerers and painterers who have a lot of knowledge accumulated through their years of painting and printering. And this is a good place for you to share it, other than a place like on Facebook, where your only answer to every question is, have you leveled your bed? Now I know you don't want to hear that, so if you are interested in joining the community, then have a look in the description below. And yes, we are at the end of another Groundeffected video, and as you all already know, when you get this far in the video, I only have one thing I can say to you. If you didn't like anything you saw in this video, it's pretty simple really. YouTube have given you a dislike button. It doesn't show anybody how many of you don't like it, but just click that little button and then f off. But if your FEP sheet is fixed now, then you probably want to just click the subscribe button.